Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Good morning and welcome to a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Hope you guys had a great 4th of July weekend, had a little extended break. We're back, ready to get back into it. The Rays, well, they finally salvaged one yesterday. It looked like it was going to be a very dark 4th of July weekend for the Rays, but a little bit of fireworks in the 10th got them a much-needed win, so we'll get in on the Rays. What's going on with their playoff situation? We finally heard from the players. So we'll hear about that, where the Rays are going to play. And we'll also dig into a couple other opportunities this weekend. The United States men's national team loses a controversial decision to Mexico in what was a very odd game to be played in the United States. So we'll get to that as well. We'll do a little bucs talk as well as we get into some of the offensive props for the upcoming season and whatever else my man Nick Geddes wants to bring to the table this morning. Good morning to you, Nick. How are you?
Good morning. Hope you had a nice week. I saw you played golf yesterday down in Bradenton, it looks like. And according
36 holes.
Yeah, I was good at 36 holes.
36 holes with a herniated disc and a bulging annulus, whatever that is.
Yikes.
Thank God for Motrin. That's all I can say. Yeah. Yeah, I'm facing a little bit of back surgery. Well, a little bit. It might be a lot of back surgery, actually. But that's coming up. But can't stop playing golf. Can't stop playing. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, so we played down at Bradenton Country Club yesterday. I'd never played there before. It's a Donald Ross design, 1924, very much like my home course, Palmacia, but it was in great shape. Greens were not super fast, but good. The fairways are immaculate. What a beautiful place. And the weather was like, for a summer day, it was in the 80s. And this beautiful breeze coming off the water down in Bradenton, it was fabulous. So, yeah, we played 36 holes, won a little cash. So, you ever play the game Wolf?
Yeah, maybe that's usually what we do now. When we have 4 people, we play Wolf instead of 2v2.
So we play like 5-5-5. So you partner with each person for 5 holes. And then after 15, whoever's down the most becomes the Wolf. You play that off on the final 3 holes to see who wins all the money. Well, I was awful for most of the first 18. I was not good, and I was down a little bit of money. So come to 18, it's a par 3. It ends on par 3. So I hit 180 yards. So I had a nice little 6 iron up there, a little cut 6 to about 25, 30 feet. But I'm like, what the hell? I'm going to go lone wolf. So that doubles the bet. So I'm playing against 3 guys, doubles the bet. First guy almost hits it in the water. Second guy in the bunker left. The third guy, the highest handicap guy, my boy, I don't know if I should, what the hell? My boy Paulie hits it like right at the stick, but it comes up a little short. So we both got about 30 footers. So I hit my putt. Now, if this one goes in, it's a $120 putt. They each got to pay me $40 if I make the birdie because it doubles it again. And I hit a perfect putt. That thing was going right in the bottom of the hole, and it just lipped out. And it was about 3 feet away. So I had about a 3-foot knee knocker. Now Paul hits his putt, and it's about 2.5 feet. Lays down the putter to see if it's in the leather. No, it's not in the leather. It's about this. So I got to make him putt the 2.5 footer. So I step up, knock the 3-footer in. He's got a 2.5 footer knee knocker. And I'm getting, how we play. We have no decorum. It's all up in your kitchen. Yeah, you can't talk while he's addressing the ball. But of course you're like, ooh, this is a big putt. It's a big $60 putt. Got to make this one. Don't want to let your partners down. And he lipped it out. He pulled it in 2.5 feet. So I got the W going lone wolf on the 18th. Besides playing some pretty terrible golf most of the day, I walked home with the money. So there's a golf story nobody cares about, but we just throw it out there to start the show. Hope you guys had as good a golf as I did. So, yeah, so it was. And then my boy Scotty Fitz showed up, so we played another 18 and played much better on the on the back 18. But the fact that I actually played 36 holes with this back injury, two things: very high pain tolerance, and I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
But
you're Jordan. It's Michael
that,
Jordan-esque. Michael Jordan-esque,
yeah.
might I say.
Oh yeah, I'm just
pulling out 36
what are
just
you gonna
casually.
do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But the both worked really well, so that's good. All right, so let's get into a little bit of Rays action. Saw the highlights, watched a little bit of Rays action most of for the weekend, but this bullpen is, I don't know what the hell happened. There was a stretch, I think not long ago, where they had the lowest ERA in baseball, the Rays bullpen.
Yes,
and in the last couple of weeks, it has just absolutely become a disaster. And, if it's not, Mason Montgomery yesterday is the latest offender. Harrison Bader, former Gator, who had a hell of a freaking series, had a walk-off, got, 3 home runs total. Pinch hitting in the 8th inning goes yard off of Montgomery. And it's, a game where the Rays led most of the way. Once again, the lead evaporates, and they go into the 10th, and they get it done. They get it done and score 3 runs, win the game 7-5. And, I don't want to overplay a win on, July 6th, but that was a huge freaking win. This team was in a tailspin. The bullpen has just been costing them. They got 3 games with the Tigers coming up, the best team in the American League. And this was an absolute must-have. And they got it done. And that resilience, I think, shows me something. This team has shown a lot of resilience coming back from a terrible start to the season where they were, 9 games under 500 or 7 games under 500, lost 9 of 10.
20 and 26 before they went on that run to get them to where they are now.
I mean, it was, and they couldn't win at home. They lost 9 of 11 at home. So it was dark, dark days. But when Josh Lowe came back, the offense picked up dramatically. Chandler Simpson gave him a big boost, and boy, is he playing some great baseball. That kid is playing some really, really good baseball. They probably should have won. Hell, they could have swept that series, but 2 walk-offs, games they could have, should have won. And the bullpen is just a disaster right now. It's just a disaster. So they got to make some moves. They got to figure out some things. There's some players out there that they could go get. And if they're serious about this and being buyers, I think it's an opportunity to do something. But I don't know. It just – and I say this, we're 1 injury away from being a really mediocre offensive team, and that injury may have happened to Brandon Lowe. And speaking of injuries, how Rays is it that Ha-Seong Kim finally comes back and then injures his calf? I mean –
on an ill-advised double steal, I believe that it happened on.
Yes. Yes, that as well. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to the bullpen, listen, when you talk about the deadline and needing to add a bullpen arm or two, I mean, every contending team is probably going to be looking at, so it's going to be a crowded market. So if the Rays are committed to this, and I think they should be, you're going to have to be prepared to probably spend a pretty price to get some more bullpen help. So that's that. And yes, it looks like the Rays are sliding right now, and big props to them for yesterday being able to stay in that baseball game and win it, because like you said, you don't want to call it a must-win necessarily, but you needed that absolutely to sort of stop the bleeding. But everybody's talking about this slide right now, and if you look at it, they could have swept the Athletics, and they could have swept the Twins. And the only thing that has held them back over these last 2 series has been the bullpen. And it's like, as discouraging as it is that the bullpen has struggled over the last week or 2 weeks, however long it's been, I almost feel better at the fact that it's just, you can literally pinpoint to it's one problem. It's one problem. It's not like there's like multiple problems all over this team. It's not like the offense has just suddenly gone completely dry or the starting pitching's not giving them a chance. It has literally been the bullpen. And I think more specifically, I got to point the finger at Kevin Cash a little bit today. And we've done that more often this year than in previous years, rather. I just think some of the decisions he's making of who to go to and when to pull starters and things like that have been really odd. And, in the games this weekend, how much are we going to see Uceda come up in big spots and continue to let this team down? How many times are we going to see Kevin Kelly come up in a big spot and let this team down? And ditto for Mason Montgomery, while a guy like Eric Orsi, who has been probably the second best pitcher in that bullpen all year long, behind Pete Fairbanks, there seemed to be only interested in using him in low leverage situations, mop up duty, even though his results have been great. I'd like to see him get more high leverage and see what happens. But he just seems to be so content on riding with Montgomery, Uceda, and Kelly. And I don't know how many times you can get burned by it and not just figure out, like, I need to try something different. So that's my thoughts overall on this bullpen at the moment.
Well, I think you're not wrong. I mean, this, but at some point, where do you go? I mean, where do you go? It's, I mean, to your point, you say it's just, it seems sometimes like Cash stays too long with guys. Like when it like clearly it looks like Orzi's a better option right now, but he keeps going back to the guys that were the high leverage guys, and it's not working. So there's a fine line between trust and and sticking with guys when they have a couple of bad outings, and then just totally losing confidence in them. So these are the gut feelings and the gut decisions that you got to make as a manager. And this is why you make big money. This is why you're the 2-time AL Manager of the Year. You've got to be able to read the room and read your players, and when they're struggling, figure out, if this guy, does he have it? Does he have it anymore? So, and sometimes you got to let guys work it out. You can't just say, okay, well, you're not going to pitch anymore for a while. You can't do that. You only have so many roster spots. Guys have to step up and eat their innings. And when they're not performing, you just got to get them to perform better. I'm not sure he has a whole lot of options right now. And it's more about, finding guys and maybe they're going to have to go out and get some arms.
The Manny Rodriguez injury sort of hurt them for sure. Because, I mean, I would have said Manny behind Fairbanks was sort of your eighth inning sort of specialist. And obviously he's been out for a minute, and I'm not sure when he's coming back, but that certainly hurt the pin. I don't know. It just feels like, just speaking to Uceda in particular, it's like what makes it so hard to quit him is he'll have like one outing a week where you go, man, that looks like the Uceda of last year. The velocity's up, the movement on the pitches, he looks confident, but he just can't sustain anything of it. He can't sustain it. And it's the same thing with Mason Montgomery. These guys have great stuff. It's not a stuff issue, but they just struggle to finish games right now, and it's killing the Rays. And they're fortunate that, they're holding on to that wild card spot right now in a very competitive AL, which has seen the Toronto Blue Jays of all teams just come out of nowhere and win 8 games and all of a sudden are in first place.
Well, listen, the Blue Jays have always had talent. It's just a matter of putting it all together, and they've not seemed to be able to do it, much like their hockey team. They seem cursed. They spend a lot of money. They've got a lot, they've got all-star players. Their pitching obviously has let them down for the most part, but maybe they finally figured it out. I mean, we've always written off Toronto. We've always, it feels like for 2 or 3 years, since the Vladdy Bichette days started getting going, you're like, man, Toronto could be the team to beat this year. Toronto could be, and they just never do it. They never do it. Maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year they finally figure it out.
I thought they were toast this year. I was like, oh, this is going to be the last year for like Bichette, probably in Toronto, and all the issues getting Guerrero signed and everything. I was like, I think this is it. But I'm never going to complain about Toronto pulling off a 3 or 4 game sweep against the Yankees. We'll take that all day. But yeah, I still like where the Rays are at. But I don't know if you were going to get to it, but you mentioned it a little bit, the Brandon Lowe injury. And so it sounds like this is like really precaution. It said that he tweaked it, his right side after the first inning strikeout. And Brandon Lowe even said it's not a long run type of thing, but he's understanding that this team is special. Let's stay healthy and not try to land on the IL. So it's very precautionary. But it is sort of worth mentioning that this happened last year. This is the same thing that happened last year. And he kept playing after he got an MRI and it said it was clean. He came back, and a week later he had a grade 1 oblique strain. So I do have some level of concern. Some level of concern that this is something that could unfortunately linger, and it comes at a horrible time for him, especially with a 20-game hitting streak. I mean, this hot streak for Brandon has gone on a little longer than we're used to, and it earned him a spot in the All-Star game. So it's just a horrible time for him, but obviously the team.
So I guess this means he's not doing home run derby?
I don't think any Rays player should do home run derby ever again. Ever again. You want to find the line where it was like Randy and then the different Randy. It kind of goes back to that home run derby in 2023, doesn't it? And at least in his Rays tenure.
I think Buchan sums this up right here and says, I have PTSD when the Rays say this injury is minor and it's just precautionary. Yeah. I mean, he's right. I mean, that means without question he's going on 60-day DL, not even the 10. It's going to be 60 whenever they say that. It's just so you have no idea what the injuries are because either they don't like being honest about them or they don't have any clue. And I might lean towards the latter. Covering the Rays as long as I have, especially it feels like in the last few years, the medical staff or just the fact that the players are just fragile, extremely fragile, very fragile. I don't know what it is. This team just seems to absorb way more injuries than others. And I don't know what the numbers say if they're more injured than most, but it sure feels like they get the most impactful injuries.
I mean, I think every team deals with it to an extent. I will say the Rays have probably actually really been lucky this year in the fact that nobody in their starting rotation has missed time with an injury.
Yes.
Like that's actually, that's the most impressive thing because that is what will absolutely kill your ball club is when you start getting the injuries. Look at the Yankees. I mean, their best pitcher this year, I shouldn't say is their best pitcher, but he had been really good this year. Clark Schmidt, all of a sudden now he's getting any Tommy John surgery. So the Yankees are looking at their rotation and it's completely blown up and they don't have any answers. Those are the things that could kill your ball club. The Rays haven't had to deal with that. I think the Rays actually have the most innings out of all their starters that started on opening day all year. So I think the Rays have actually been blessed this year with injuries, you could say.
I would agree. Sorry, I'm working around a little microphone issue here. We'll try to fix it in the break. But, I mean, to start, it's funny you say that because that's where their depth is probably the best at starters. Yeah. They've all been healthy. But that's what's so fragile about this lineup because if Brandon Lowe goes down, it just gets really thin and you can start pitching around guys. I'd say the same about Josh Lowe and on and on and on. What's this? I mean, it sounds like, well, we just don't know. We don't know with Brandon Lowe and him going to the All-Star game. Does that mean, will that be more pressure or less pressure for him to not do anything during the All-Star game? I don't know. At this point, you're probably just going to get one at bat, maybe an inning or two. Who knows? But the rest might be better for him. But he can go and enjoy the festivities and not do anything. That probably would be best. But we're a week away from that anyway. So
yeah, it'll just be serious to see how they manage them because I mean, yesterday was kind of this series kind of turned into the Rays having to go off script a little bit because you had Ha-Seong Kim back and you thought maybe you're going to be able to play him at least 2 of the 3 games, right? I don't know if they were going to give him all 3 games just coming back, but he goes down in the first game. And then yesterday, Jose Caballero is scratched from the lineup late. Taylor Walls comes in. Side note, he hits a home run. His hitting has continued to sort of pick up of late. But then Brandon Lowe gets hurt. So guess what? Cabby's got to come in. And Cabby is able to do what he does and be a scrapper out there and played a big role in them winning that game yesterday. So
huge.
They kind of had to piece it together. But this is kind of the value of having Taylor Walls and Ha-Seong Kim and Jose Caballero all on your roster. So is that if you want to sit Brandon down for a little bit and be extra precautious, you have enough guys that you can fill those spots right now. So and
really
I think
good player. Well, hopefully Kim is Kim going to be okay? Do we know yet?
I mean, they're doing the day-to-day thing with Ha-Seong Kim right now. So, I mean, it's encouraging that he hasn't been put on the IL yet. He hasn't been put on the IL yet, but very day-to-day, I guess.
You get a calf. I said it was a calf cramp.
Yeah.
Does a cramp last 48 hours? Not last time I checked. But I know when you get a cramp and you try to work through it, there's a little bit of pain. But, you can play through that. They should be able to know that whether, he's actually injured the calf or it's a cramp, right? They should be able to know.
And I will say, I feel really bad for Ha-Seong Kim because what's happening here is he was signed to the largest free agent contract that the Rays have ever given out to a position player, which is a joke. I was going to say, even then, it's 2 years, $29 million. We're not talking about some crazy contract. But I feel like because of that, And the fact that we haven't seen him play all but 7 innings so far in a Rays uniform, like they were hyping this up like crazy about Ha-Seong Kim and his arrival in Tampa Bay. And like, it was like he's mysterious player, right? Because he played in San Diego and like none of us were watching West Coast baseball. Like I kept hearing this on the broadcast, and I love the broadcast. It's nothing against them, but I get they got to hype everything up, but they were really hyping up the arrival of Ha-Seong Kim. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, it's nice and everything, but he's hitting 7th in the lineup. Like, this isn't like a guy that we're plugging right in the 3-hole, and it's like transformative, necessary or anything. He's a good player, but I feel like because of the contract, there's like these like crazy expectations on Ha-Seong Kim to be this transformative player. He's not that. And I sort of feel bad for him because now he's already getting like this label of like, oh, he's super injury prone. And it's because this is now 3 injuries since he's been in Tampa Bay, or not 3, but recovering from the shoulder. And then he had the little setback and now this.
Right. Well, yeah. And again, the pressure, and we've been trying to say this on the team on the show. Everybody's like, oh, Ha-Seong Kim's coming back. The offense is going to explode. He's an upgrade offensively, but he's not a great offensive player.
Right.
He's a career 253 hitter, not a whole lot of pop, but does get on base, does steal bases, but he's not a power guy or that's going to come in. Let's not expect that. That's not who this guy is. So he can help, and in the end, he's a huge upgrade over Curtis Mead, which is basically what he is. So now you have 3 utility players, a guy, and I know Cash said he's going to be the everyday shortstop. All right, that's great, but let's not forget Taylor Walls is 5th on your team in RBIs. Has hit like 365 with runners in scoring position in the last couple of months. He's the best shortstop in the game. He's got a 2.2 WAR. I mean, it's not like this guy's a bum that so many people make him out to be. He's not a bum. He's a really good player, and he helps you win games. So, in the fact that even Cash says, well, listen, he's our shortstop, our everyday shortstop. I'm like, why? Like, you can ease him in and have him as a utility player until he gets comfortable again at the plate. I mean, he was hitting 198 in AAA. Why do you just pop him right in there right away and say he's our everyday shortstop? I mean, he can't even stay healthy for a single game. I mean, let's pump the brakes here. So again,
I can't believe we're
organizational decision.
I can't believe we're at the point where we're like going so we're going so in on like almost propping Taylor Walls to the moon right now. It's crazy how.
Well, look at how he's played in the past 2 months, which happened to coincide with the resurgence of this team. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, bro. And it seems like every time they're in the middle of a big inning, Taylor Walls is coming up and getting a big hit. Now, listen, we all know his track record. He's a terrible offensive player, and that's his track record. But if your team's on a roll and his guy's been a key to it, and you can't deny that he hasn't been, he's been a key to your role. How do you just like shove him to the bench? Now, I don't think that's going to happen because look, 6 games a week, especially in the summertime. If you think Ha-Seong Kim's playing all 6 games or even 5 games, to me, he should be playing maybe starting 4 of the 6 every week, and then rotating guys around. And if Brandon Lau's going to be out, well, then Taylor's going to play second base, and Ha-Seong Kim's going to play, and then Cabby's going to spell them both. The fact of the matter is, this what the hell? I don't know what the hell that was. Yeah, I mean, you've got 3 really capable guys right now that are very versatile and can do a lot offensively. I'm saying that about Taylor Walls as well. So I think you're in a good spot. Don't want to see this like Taylor Walls goes to the bench. I think that would be really, really silly.
And you have to understand, Taylor Walls, like when we say like he is a elite fielder, like this is like he's like maybe the best fielder in baseball. Like, and the numbers bear that out. He's got 18. He's got 18 defensive runs saved this year, which leads baseball. That's more than 18 teams. And he's not even playing every day. Like this guy, like it is tough because you gave the contract to Ha-Seong Kim and everything, and he is a better hitter than Taylor Walls. And by the way, he's not a slouch defensively. He's got a Gold Glove on his resume, and he's shown in the past that he can steal bases, he can get on base via the walk, and all those things. Like he's a good player. But Taylor, I give him a lot of credit because, like, we've done it on this show and everybody's given him a lot of flack for a lot of his issues at the plate, and they are what they are, and that's part of the game. You get criticism when you don't perform, right? But he's kept on plugging along this year. He's kept on digging, and he played himself into a role to stay on this team over Curtis Mead when he came up, when Ha-Seong Kim came back up. So I do give him a lot of credit for that. But listen, if he's not going to be an everyday player, and he's not when Ha-Seong Kim's healthy, I'm looking at like just the makeup of this roster, JP, and this lineup in general. And it's like, I love the mix of a guy like Yandy, who is a great contact hitter, hits the ball hard, and he's shown to have some pop this year. Junior's got the pop. Brandon Lowe's got the pop. Josh Lowe is really all around. And then you have these subset of players here of Chandler Simpson, Jake Mangum, Taylor Walls, Jose Caballero. And if they get on base, watch out. Putting pressure on every single opposing pitcher. Like, I just, in general, having Ha-Seong Kim back and maybe shifting Taylor Walls to a part-time position, and he could, come in late in games if you want to get some extra defense in the field. If they don't feel like they want Junior there late, you could bring in Taylor Walls to be a defensive guy. You need to have somebody pinch run, Taylor Walls or Mangum, Simpson, Caballero. Yeah. You have so many options. So, like, just in general, like, that's what I'm saying. We harp about the bullpen, and rightfully so, but I really love the makeup of where this lineup is heading right now with the mix of players.
I agree. And if Kim can stay healthy, for God's sakes, yeah, you got a great group of infielders that can add offensively and really dominate defensively. And, as Mike H said, Taylor would play short and Kim would be at second. That's what I'm thinking. But Cash came out the other day and said, I look at Kim as the everyday shortstop. Did he not? Did I not read that in Topkin's piece?
Yeah,
so
and you have to look at him like that. But what do you?
But again, if Lau's hurt, if Lau's hurt, who plays short? The best shortstop in the game, or Kim?
If Lowe, he said this before Brandon Lowe had his little issue, and we don't even know if this is going to turn anything yet. We just have some concern based on past history. But yes, I would assume that if Brandon Lowe did get hurt, for real, and had to have an IL stint, then yeah, I probably would put Taylor at short and Kim at second. That's what I probably would do, yes.
Well, I don't think that's what Cash is going to do. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that would, and if you're doing that because he's the highest paid free agent in history and shortstop, I mean, he won that Gold Glove as a utility player. Okay, he's also a utility player and he plays really good shortstop, but not better than Taylor Walls. If you're putting Kim in at short, if you have first, second, or short, if Taylor Walls plays short, like, I don't care what the contract says. I don't care who he says, what he wants. That's what should be done. But I'm not sure that's always the case with the Rays. To me, it sometimes seems like there's other agendas, but we'll see. And, hopefully we won't see, because Brandon Lowe needs to be healthy and this team. But again, it's a good problem to have. You have three really good infielders who can play all three positions and also add offensively. And with a long, hot summer ahead, and especially with Kim just coming off the DL and being out for, 9 months, there's no reason to overload him. And there's plenty of innings for all three of these guys to play, mix and match. I mean, it's a great problem to have, and I don't see it as a problem. This is nothing but a plus. And, God bless Curtis Mead and the Shrimps on the Bobby, but
get all your at-bats in AAA, and we'll see you soon at some point.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of, I don't know about good problems to have, but again, I don't know if I'd call this a problem. What the hell do you do with Joe Boyle? Because yesterday he comes in, he gets called up, and he comes in mop-up duty or relief duty for Drew Rasmussen, who is sort of, they're monitoring his innings now, which they should do with the 3 Tommy John surgeries that he's had. But Joe Boyle comes in, and once again, absolute lights out. Outside of a bumpy little first inning that he had, lights out. 27 whiffs, 14 strikeouts in 10 innings this season. I mean, unhittable.
So he came in as a relief pitcher.
Yeah, he came in the third inning for Drew Rasmussen and then went 5 innings.
Right.
And nobody could touch
him.
Now,
he's not typically, obviously going 5 innings. That's not a typical relief pitcher. But pairing him with Rasmussen, I have no problem with that. You got to eat innings. innings are innings. Bah. Needing help in the back end of the bullpen.
I want to see
with
this guy stretched out more than anything. I mean,
you what?
I want to see him stretched out. 10 innings and only 2 hits.
I know. But also, having wipeout stuff, pairing him with Fairbanks in the 8th and 9th or whatever those high leverage situations are going to be. Or I don't know.
I'm really scared they're going to trade Zach. I'm really scared they're going to trade Zach Littell.
There's so much. If Rasmussen's running out of innings, which he is, he's got 150 count, and I don't know what you do with that. I mean, if he's at 150 innings and you get to the playoffs,
maybe you start using. I don't know. I just feel like. I mean, does this become the new norm? Maybe like when Rasmussen's there, like you try to have Boyle lined up with
that with Strasburg one year.
Yeah, maybe because Rasmussen's already
had a lights out season. They got to the postseason. They're like, yeah, his innings are up. Sorry.
So Rasmussen. Rasmussen is up to. He's got 89 in a third inning so far that he's completed this season. And if you look at his recent outings, like they've been sort of dialing him back for some time now. When you look at his pitch count, like he was yanked the last 3 games, he's gone 62 pitches, 54 pitches, and then yesterday he only had 32. So they've gone into complete conservative mode with Drew Rasmussen. So I don't hate the idea. I just want of Joe Boyle, sort of lining up with him and being his buffer. I don't hate that whatsoever because Joe Boyle, to me, like he's forcing the issue. I know it's 2 outings. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but 27 swings and misses in 2 outings? Do people understand how difficult that is to do?
Insane. Well, first of all, thank God they finally brought him up, for God's sakes. I mean, I know it's been, hard to find a spot for him, but, well, I don't. In what's going on with Taj, it's great, it's bad, it's great, it's bad. Right. I mean, you just got to keep throwing him out there, and he's so young. You just got to let him go. His stuff is just so freaking electric. You just got to let him go. I mean, who are you going to take out of the? I think this is the best answer right now, to be honest with you, and that's good because you're going to save. So this, to me, this means you can save Rasmussen for the playoffs. So you can, going into the playoffs, you're going to have, Pepio, Littell, Rasmussen, Boyle combo.
What do you do with Shane McClanahan?
Well, let's
to me, I view him as the secret weapon in the back of the bullpen. I think by the time Shane McClanahan gets back, because I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, because think of it, he's got to go, he still has to do rehab starts. And I don't think it's going to be one of those things where like, okay, you did your 3 rehab starts, come back. No, it ain't going to be like that. I think it's going to be very long. So I don't think if Shane McClanahan comes back at all this season, I don't think it's going to be for a long time. And by then, like, it's probably going to be too late to try to stretch him out to a starter's length. And I probably wouldn't want to do that, forcing it for the postseason. I think Shane McClanahan might be another guy you insert into the back of the bullpen just for this year. And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and he did it before when he first came up and was really good. So, yeah, imagine having a wipeout lefty like that in the back end of your bullpen, and Fairbanks as well. If Rodriguez can come back, and then the starting situation.
Ian Seymour. We saw Ian Seymour that one outing. He looked pretty good. I mean, that's what's going to happen. At the end of the day, once you get to the postseason, it's going to be all hands on deck. I don't care if you're a natural reliever or whatever. Like, the best pitchers have got to pitch, and the Rays have got to think about that. I'm thinking about the playoffs right now. The Rays are sitting in a playoff spot. I'm thinking about playoff games, and I'm thinking about the fact that starters only go, 4 or 5 innings max anyway in the postseason. And I'm looking right now, and I'm like, do I trust Uceda in a big game, in a big spot? Hell no. Do I trust Montgomery? No. Do I trust Kelly? No.
Nope.
I got 3 guys right there that if I'm constructing a playoff roster, I don't want them anywhere near it. So if I'm the Rays, that's the number one thing I got to be worrying about right now.
I agree, 100%. And speaking of the playoffs, where are the Rays going to play? Where are the Rays going to play? We finally have some answers from the players, what they think. So we'll dive into that. Also, in the comments, the Bucs have raised their ticket prices, and I believe I heard this weekend they're charging for training camp as well. Oy vey. We got some thoughts on this. Are trusted and they get results. If you're involved in an accident, make sure that you go with this local law firm, JeevesLawGroup.com. They know the local landscape. They have offices in St. Pete and in Tampa. Great local benefactors. Don't get lost with a bigger company that doesn't know the legal landscape here in Tampa Bay. The Jeeves Law Group is where you go. JeevesLawGroup.com. They'll give you a free case evaluation. Non-attorney's proof. And by the great folks at On-Site Construction and Restoration, they will restore your home. They'll do an add-on, which can be very difficult, and they'll build from scratch whatever you need. It's onsiteconstructionfl.com. That's the website. Check out the website. Great stuff there. Read all the 5-star reviews. onsiteconstructionfl.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com. Are you having legal issues with a business partner or other legal business issues? The attorneys at Walters, Levine, and DeGrave can help. Call 800-616-0384 for a free consultation. At Walters, Levine, and DeGrave, we've redefined what a law firm can be with top-tier attorneys, personal service, and 26 years of success. From business law to civil litigation, we deliver smart, client-focused solutions. Walters, Levine, and DeGrave recently won a $6.4 million jury verdict from a large real estate developer, and they can win for you too. Walters, Levine, and DeGrave. Let's solve it together. Not attorney spokesman. For a free consultation, call 800-616-0384 or go to walterslevine.com. Offices Tampa, Sarasota.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by the great folks here at Riveter, the official bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show, the best place in Tampa Bay to go for a Rays pregame, just a mile south of the stadium. And when they get back, they'll have a visit with the Dodgers. The huge. We will be doing a live game show there on August 1st, I believe it is. So that's the Friday of the Dodgers series. So we look forward to that. They got a big UFC event coming up as well. The last one was absolutely tremendous. They had the Jake Paul fight on in UFC 317. The best place to go. Never any cover for the UFC events. Never any cover for the boxing events. So head on over there for Rays games. When football season comes around, it's going to be Bucs games as well. They are the official watch party of the Florida Gators. So check out Riveters right there, just a mile south of Ray J and the Stein. Love those folks over there. All right. The Stein. I miss the Stein. You know, we just don't have a whole lot of home games.
No.
For the month of July and August, and that's the way it should be. How many rainouts have we had this year, by the way? Who's saying?
Zero.
Oh, every game's gonna be a rainout. Oh, like remember that?
Remember when they told me, and I love all you weather people, but I remember when they told me, I could have swore we were going to have like the biggest monsoon come through this weekend, right? And I feel like a lot of people probably altered their 4th of July plans in advance. And then did anything happen?
No.
No.
Weather is it's a fickle thing. It's a fickle thing. And this might be a good spot to, to say this and acknowledge the horrific tragedy that happened in Texas over the weekend. I was actually just in New Braunfels like 2 weeks ago. And when I went to San Antonio, my brother lives out in that area. I crossed the bridge there to the Guadalupe River. And it's interesting because when we were there, it was dry, completely dry. It's a dry riverbed. And when they have these rains in the hill country, it flash floods in a heartbeat. And this ridiculous social media narrative of, in making it political is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's horrific to try and score political points on the deaths of little boys and little girls. It's on any side of the aisle is the most disgusting thing I could possibly think of. And it used to be, if there was something, of note there that you could actually connect to a political decision, it would take at least a week or two for anybody to even speak of it, just out of respect for the tragic loss. Now it's you make up these ridiculous narratives within 30 seconds. And I'm not just talking about crackpots on social media. I'm talking about elected officials, congressmen, senators. To act like the cuts in the NOAA somehow led to these folks not being warned is the most ridiculous thing ever. The fact of the matter is that particular weather station was overstaffed. Not to mention the incredible amount of private companies that do weather. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world to try to blame a public figure for a natural disaster that happened. But yet these people try to score political points in a heartbeat. It's so grotesque. I can't even think. I just, and this is what our political discourse has become, and it's a problem on both sides, obviously. So I just, for the life of me, I can't imagine. And by the way, the people were warned, and I listened to a great video this morning from a meteorologist who works in the Oklahoma area and grew up in the Texas area, actually went to summer camp in that area and knows the riverbeds and the flash flooding and knows that the meteorological systems and weather systems there better than anybody. And as she explained it, like bit by bit, all the warnings that were supposed to go out went out, but it was in the middle of the night. And that particular camp is in an area where there's no cell service. And this is why, these camps have to have these NOAA weather alert radios that don't work on cell service, that they will alert you flash flooding, especially in that area. When you knew on Thursday that this rain event was coming. I mean, if anybody failed them, this was the people that run this camp. But it's not really time for blame right now. We'll get to that, but people want to get to it right away. But the narrative that somehow these folks weren't warned and it was because of cuts in the weather system, weather alert system, is the most ridiculous thing and the most disgusting thing I've heard in politics in a long, long time. And that's a stretch. That's a stretch. But yeah, it's horrific, and we pray for the families, the kids. I mean, my daughter went to summer camps. My son I went to summer camps, and these are in very rural places that don't have cell service, but you depend on the people that run the camps to keep your kids safe. And that didn't happen in these situations. And sometimes natural disasters are such that there's nothing you can really do. They just are what they are. And I feel horrible, and it's gut wrenching to even think about it, because that could easily have been my child. And it's really tough to swallow, but man, what a horrible tragedy. And to make political points out of it. Wow. Just unbelievable. All right, back to baseball. That's a great segue. The playoffs are coming, and I think it's a pretty good bet that the Rays are going to be involved in one way or another. Now, Mark Topkin asked Pete Fairbanks, who is the Rays player representative, and Eric Neander to comment on the fact that Major League Baseball is looking at options to move the games out of Steinbrenner Field if the Rays are to make it to the ALCS or the World Series. Here's the quote from Neander. There's only one way to find out. We couldn't be more appreciative of the fans that have come out and supported us in our temporary home. Couldn't be more appreciative of our staff and our players and the way they've acclimated. There was a bit of learning curve getting into this building and finding success, and we found it, and we've made it home. We love nothing more than to be playing games here beyond those that are currently scheduled. There's only one way to find out, and it's our job to find out where those games will be played. Now, spot on, Eric Neander. He rarely misses when it comes to things like this. Super smart guy. Unlike his boss, can read the room and understand what it's all about. And I'll get to him in a second. Because the bottom line is the reason the Rays are in this mess is because of their completely inept and cheap and ridiculously awful owner, Stu Sternberg. Not because of the hurricane, because of Stu Sternberg. As I've said many times, that stadium should have been replaced long ago. The roof should have been replaced long ago. And him dragging his feet and walking away from two perfectly good deals, and I realized that the St. Pete deal would have been, I realized that. But the Tampa deal was there to be had. And there were other deals to be had in the past 8 to 10 years that he hasn't been able to get done. So absolutely the ineptitude of this incompetency of this owner is what has led to this situation. Don't get it twisted. That's part of not getting deals done that should have been done. So Pete Fairbanks was asked about it, the player representative. I've never heard of a team not playing home playoff games in their home stadium for the year. So that's my thought on that. Obviously, this is a very different situation, but that's pretty short and to the point, and I like that. He said they can deliberate over whatever they want, but I feel like it's a disservice to the people in this area if they're going to move potential playoff games. Stuff like that historically has not had a positive effect on a region. I'm sure they'll keep hypothesizing. It is what it is, but we'd like to have our fans at the ballpark. He continues, we've got a lot of things to accomplish before that becomes a reality, and we're going to stay at those. If we are so fortunate enough to reach that point, I'd say that's something that our fans, staff, and players deserve. 100% agree with that. And here's the problem with what's going on right now with your ownership group. Because typically, in a situation like this, who would be your number one advocate with Major League Baseball? Your owner. And what do we got? We got a lame duck owner who is soon to be replaced, who Major League Baseball is trying to force out for obvious reasons and correct reasons. So he's not going to be any help. The only thing he's concerned about right now is getting top dollar for the sale and trying to make it into a bidding war, which Major League Baseball does not want. They have a letter of intent. It is hopefully going through in short order, and there will be an ownership change. And when there's an ownership change, perhaps there will be some discussion with Major League Baseball about what we can do about these home games in the ALCS and World Series. I would suspect if a new ownership group buys in that has the blessing of MLB, and of course they do, and this is the group that they wanted all along, that I think maybe Major League Baseball's stance on this would change. I can't 100% say with certainty that would happen. But I would think if I'm Major League Baseball and I'm ushering in a new ownership group and they're going to build a stadium in Tampa, and I would like the market to rally around that, I think taking away ALCS and World Series from them would be a really, really bad idea from a PR standpoint. Now, I understand, and I hear people say this, and it's like it's, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it. There's 7,500 tickets that go to sponsors for the World Series, so there's no way. It's 1 year. It's 1 year. Baseball has plenty of opportunity to make goods in other ways. So what you're telling me is it comes down to money. It's just about money. Well, there's playoff shares that go to, so it's just about money. That's what it comes down to. And that's not going to fly. In a situation like this, that's not going to fly with this fan base. It's not going to fly with the Major League Baseball Players Association. Well, maybe them, because the players get a cut of this money. I would think in 1 year, you can find a way for a couple of playoff games that you could either do without the money or find ways to replace the revenue. In a $15 billion a year industry, you can't find ways to replace this, what would amount to at the most 6 games, or 8. It would be at the most if they had home field advantage. I don't think that's going to happen. 8 home games. If all the series goes 7, somehow this is going to destroy all the sponsorship deals and destroy the financial stability of Major League Baseball. I find that hard to believe. I find that very hard to believe, because you don't have 30,000 tickets. You only have I'm sure that they could retrofit the ballpark for at least another 5,000 seats. They can do it at every other venue in the world, but not this one. That doesn't make any sense. Let's get a little creative. Let's figure it out. But I think part of this discussion, honestly, with Major League Baseball is another, F you to Stu Sternberg said, yeah, get the deal done. Or we're not having any playoff games at Steinbrenner Field. We're not having anything there that's going to benefit you. I think that's very much, and nobody wants to say it. Nobody wants to say it. They want to blame it on all these other things. But I think it's very much another shot across the bow to Stu Sternberg to say, look, if your team makes it to the playoffs, we're not even going to give you home playoff games. We're going to move them. No Major League Baseball doesn't want to do that. They don't want to do that. I think this is just another threat. just like they threatened to take away his revenue sharing money. I think it's just another threat that says, let's get this deal done. Let's stop dragging your feet and let's get it done. Now, I think Major League Baseball is running this deal anyway, but obviously there has to be some input from Stu Sternberg. And they don't want it to be, a completely, gun to the head transaction. They would like this to be done in a civil way, but maybe that's not possible with Stu Sternberg.
I pretty much echo what Pete Fairbanks said, and I think given what this sort of community has been through over the last however many months it's been since Hurricane Milton at this point, 8 or 9 months or whatever, and being uprooted out of your own home stadium and playing your games in Steinbrenner, and given everything we've been through, and then to have this team put together this year that looks like that they're on the right trajectory to make the playoffs, then to get there and then for them to be told, okay, guess what? It's nice of y'all that y'all enjoyed your 81 games at Steinbrenner Field playing in your intimate ballpark in front of your fan base, and it's been a success. But now that you're in the playoffs, have fun playing your games in Texas, Atlanta, or Miami. And we're going to call that your home field. I feel like that's such Pete Fairbanks said, that's such a disservice to the fan base. I think it's a disservice to the players. Keep in mind, this is already a team that the last time they went on a long playoff run and made the World Series, they had to do that playing in freaking San Diego of all places. And then obviously they played the World Series in Texas. They didn't even get to play that at home either. I struggle. I don't want to get too far ahead, talking about World Series and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, the Rays need to prove to me that they can win a wild card round, because it's something they've struggled to do
100%
over the last 3 playoff appearances, where they've struggled to honestly just get a hit or a run or whatever. It looks a little bit more optimistic this year, right? But you never know until you get there. So the Rays need to worry about that, and they will. But I mean, I think we've all sort of been looking forward to, okay, if this team gets to the playoffs, imagine having playoff games in Steinbrenner Field, and imagine the energy that it would bring to this community and this fan base that has already been there. To tell them that, hey, you're going to go play in a different city, then I think is ridiculous. And who's to say that the attendance is going to be great at those games anyway? I mean, was Major League Baseball happy about the fact that the last time the Rays were in the playoffs, what was it, 19,000 people that showed up? Were they happy about that? I mean, at the end of the day, 10,000, 19,000, I think at that point, you're not exactly thrilled with either number, right? So I would love that if they made the playoffs. I think they should play those games in Steinbrenner Field. Manfred was said in the story that when he talked about the A's, if the A's had made the playoffs, he could see them playing at least one round there, I guess. But if they got further than that, then they would probably try to intervene. I wish they would stay out of it. But again, this is all going to come down to money and dollars and cents and everything. And that's the way the world works. That's how Major League Baseball works. But I think my focus is on just getting there at this point, and not really focusing about where the potential World Series would play.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird conversation for the players and the team to have, because the reaction is going to be just that, oh, well, why don't you get there first? And I get that. But also, if we had competent ownership, this wouldn't be an issue. For one, we'd have a new stadium already a long time ago. But number two, that particular owner would be able to have sway with Major League Baseball and say, hey, you're not taking our playoff games. We've gone through enough. You don't need to be taking away our playoff games. And they would work to figure it out. I think the reason MLB is taking this hard stance publicly right now is because of what I mentioned. It's another shot over the bow of current ownership, which they hate and want to get rid of. Talk about Major League Baseball and most Rays fans as well. So, I'm going to hit a couple of comments here on the Rays, and then we have a developing situation in our comment section here. We have some of our lovely, wonderful followers fighting each other. So we'll get to that regarding the increase in bucs tickets, which we'll talk about in the next segment. But we're going to get through the Rays here real quick. Where's the one I wanted to get to? To Bucks Basement says, and this is true, JP, the Rays haven't been able to win a playoff game in years, so let's focus on getting the World Series and divisional round at home before focusing on a championship. Listen, we got to talk about it. I understand what you're saying, and it's absolutely valid. But if you don't talk about it and fight back now, if you just wait till you get there and they've already decided it, you're screwed. So there's got to be, the fans need to have their voice heard. I think our public leaders and I'd like to say, where's our owner on this? Have we heard one peep from him about where the playoff games should be played? Eric Neander has talked, but where's Stu Sternberg? Not a peep. And I just told you why. As Mike H says, if Steinbrenner was good enough for MLB to play 81 games, what's one wild card there? Now, they said the wild card division series, they will play there. I don't think that's a problem. So it just gets to the ALCS and the World Series where these other revenue streams come in. And again, so it's just about money. It's just about money. And a few games are going to wreck the financial structure of Major League Baseball. Come on. Let's be serious. Daniel Rivera says Neander and Zalewski takes over is going to see the checkbook really open up in a big way. I don't know about a big way, Daniel, but I think, relatively speaking to the Rays, yes. But I don't think there's any question that their payroll can go to 125. And that would be a huge upgrade, obviously. That's a 25, 30% upgrade. So that would be, and I think it could really help the Rays get over the top with what they need to win a championship.
You know what my dream would be is that if we had an ownership sale go through and it somehow developed quickly enough to where the new ownership could take over by the time we get to the offseason, the Cubs drag their wheels trying to get Kyle Tucker signed, or he doesn't want to sign, and maybe the Rays. That would be my dream. Wouldn't that just be the dream scenario?
Yeah.
New ownership comes in, and the first thing they do is they bring Kyle Tucker home. Wouldn't that just be so fun?
You imagine?
I'm probably living in fantasy land, but because
listen, I know for
the contract, even with the new ownership group that would come in, the contract that Kyle Tucker is going to be signing is still likely going to be out of even their range, because Kyle, that's just speaking to the type of player that Kyle Tucker is. But wouldn't it just be so wonderful?
Well, yes and no. It's doable. It's doable because A, there would be a hometown discount, and B, the payroll is so low and has been for so long that it's artificial. Like, this team should have no problem with $150 million payroll every single year. You got to understand that. The revenues are already well over $300 million right now and have been for quite some time. Where's that money going? Marketing the team? Stadium? It's going right into Stu's pocket and has for a long time. So this even with their revenues where they're at right now, they could make money, and lots of it, with $150 million payroll. Not a problem. But if you're intent on putting tens of millions of dollars into your pocket every single year, yeah, it's tough to do. So just do the numbers. If he's going to cost you $25, $30 million a year, then, or likely 30 or 35, you can still do it.
Maybe. I wanted to get to another comment here, because it's another Rays item / MLB item we haven't really talked about much today, and that's the subject of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Because Jonathan Aranda, well-deserved going to the All-Star game. He did not win the fan vote, but he won the player vote pretty decisively over Paul Goldschmidt. So that's good to hear. That's good to hear that the players, they recognize the talent that he is. And obviously Brandon Lowe goes as well on the day that he turns 31. Good accomplishment for him, and those two guys go into the All-Star game. But, of course, everybody wants to talk about snubs, and that's what Christopher Cole says. Speaking of the All-Star game, who is your biggest snub in both leagues? And I know a lot of Rays fans are going to be asking themselves, why is Junior Caminero not in the All-Star game? He leads all AL third basemen in home runs, RBIs, and total bases. But Jose Ramirez obviously is starting the game, which I'm not going to have any issues with that. Alex Bregman takes the second third base spot on the reserves, and Jazz Chisholm Jr. takes the third. And I had to look, and I'm like,
laughable.
Okay, Alex Bregman got off to an unreal start, but Alex Bregman has not played since May 23rd. It's July 7th. So obviously Bregman's not going to play in that All-Star game anyway. So he's going to get replaced. And maybe, I think it's honestly, this is so poetic. It's going to come down to, if they want to just directly replace third baseman for Bregman, it's going to come down to Junior Caminero or Isak Paredes. And it's very close. You could it literally is. If you look at their numbers, it's literally like splitting hair. So maybe there's a shot for him, or it's going to be Isak. Jazz Chisholm Jr., I just do not understand whatsoever how
he's a Yankee. He's a star.
But by all accounts, the most egregious selection here is Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. I, for the life of me, cannot figure this one out at all. He takes an outfield spot, and I looked this morning. 26 players qualify to for like the stats and everything, to be on the stats and whatnot based on at bats. 26 outfielders qualify in the American League. Julio Rodriguez ranks 23rd in the American League in OPS with a 695. And it's not like his other numbers are great either. He's hitting 247 with 11 home runs and 43 RBIs. George Springer is second in the American League in OPS behind one Aaron Judge. And he's not in the All-Star game. And the Toronto Blue Jays also happen to be leading the toughest division in baseball, arguably. So I don't really understand why Julio Rodriguez is in the All-Star game whatsoever. And so if you're asking me who's the biggest snub, well, I'll just take the 20-some-odd outfielders in the American League who have better numbers than him. But, it's the way MLB, and it's not even one of those things where like, okay, well, everybody's got to have a representative. The Mariners have 2 other All-Stars or 3 other All-Stars.
Right.
There was no reason to put Julio Rodriguez there, but it is what it is. The MLB All-Star game, because now it doesn't decide home field, it's an exhibition at this point, and they want to have the stars there and everything. But it's just odd. He's not there. Juan Soto, who's been like he's been on another planet at the plate over the last month or so. He shockingly is not there in the NL. Trey Turner, I think, leads the National League in hits. He's not there. Some very curious decisions from.
I think I got to a long time ago the point where I don't even pay attention to it anymore because there's so many snubs. It's not a true all-star game. It just seems to be some type of hidden agendas. I don't know what it is, but the best players are not represented every year. It just I don't pay it. It's one of those things like when it loses its credibility, I don't pay attention to it anymore.
Yeah,
and to me, it lost its credibility a long time ago. So I don't pay a lot of attention to the snubs except to the local guys who get snubbed. And Junior, I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's not even close. I mean, so I don't get worked up over it. And
no, I don't. It's not like you get worked up about it. It's just such a
flawed. You're pointing it out. It's wrong.
It's a flawed system on how they decide it. Really and I think about other things when it comes to All-Star games and things like that. The same thing I view Pro Bowls, even though Pro Bowl, it's just the games and everything. When you get into the room, when it starts talking about players, when they start to get down the line into like Hall of Fame discussions, they look at these things.
I know.
They look at these things. Players have things in their contracts, incentives, if they make all-star games. Those are the things that I get outraged about. And then we sort of just, pick weird things. Like even as a commenter mentioned here, the MLB RBI leader is not in the all-star game. And that's Seiya Suzuki for the Chicago Cubs. The guy is on pace for like 45 home runs and like 140 RBIs, and he's not in the all-star game.
So again, I think maybe they should turn it into something that's more production oriented. Like, you can come up, well, the WAR score is supposed to be that, right? Top 3 guys in WAR at every position get to go to the All-Star game. Done.
And clearly that's got to be the reason why Julio Rodriguez is in the All-Star game, because he happens to have the second best WAR of all American League outfielders. So I have to assume this comes down to defense for what he does out there. But when have we ever decided MLB All-Stars or Pro Bowls or anything based on defense? When have we ever done that?
Well, yeah, but we should. It's part of the game. It's half the game. Yeah. Can't ignore it.
I guess.
I
guess Taylor Walsh should be in the All-Star game then. Hell.
Well, if the numbers suggest that he should be, then he should be. Baseball's a numbers game, right? I don't know. Brandon Weed said, yeah, you can't wait till MLB and Manfred screw over the Rays again. Need to make some noise now to make sure we all have playoff games at the Stein. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. We need to do that. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get into these Bucs things. I'll be honest with you. I'm not happy with the way this is going down. So we'll look at it from a lot of different sides. The Bucs are increasing their ticket prices, training camp, all that stuff. So we'll talk about that when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 is the number. They do all the work. You save all the money. They will make sure that you are with a homeowners company that's going to pay out when you need them to pay out. They know which companies are good. They know which companies are not. So go with Italiano. Not only will they get you the cheapest price, but they'll put you with the best companies. 813-877-7799. We'll take a quick break. Come back on the other side. Talk some Bucs. Stay with us. Stand by for break.
JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com. Are you having legal issues with a business partner or other legal business issues? The attorneys at Walters, Levine, and DeGrave can help. Call 800-616-0384 for a free consultation. At Walters, Levine, and DeGrave, we've redefined what a law firm can be with top-tier attorneys, personal service, and 26 years of success. From business law to civil litigation, we deliver smart, client-focused solutions. Walters, Levine, and DeGrave recently won a $6.4 million jury verdict from a large real estate developer, and they can win for you too. Walters, Levine, and DeGrave. Let's solve it together. Not attorney spokesman. For a free consultation, call 800-616-0384 or go to walterslevine.com. Offices Tampa, Sarasota.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Onsite Construction, FL.com. Onsite Construction is one of the best construction companies in all of Tampa Bay. That's the owner there. You can see him on the show. Come by a couple of times. Great dude. He will give you a free consultation. He'll come right out to your house. He'll meet you. So you'll get to know your contractor. If you're thinking of adding on to your home, restoring your home, building from the ground up, that's something else that they do really, really well. They do all kinds of construction at onsiteconstructionfl.com. So go to their website, check out all the great pictures and the 5-star reviews, and get your free consultation. And you'll meet your contractor who will be doing the work. And if there is another hurricane and a lot of destruction, so many of you had a hard time finding really competent and honest contractors, well, you'll already have a meeting with them. You'll know who they are, and you'll be on the preferred list when things go down. Very, very important. OnsiteConstructionFL.com. Go to the website, contact them through there, and tell them JP sent you. All right, wanted to get to some of these comments on the Buccaneers. Now, we've heard this from John Hill and some other folks that the Bucs are raising prices. I'm trying to find the exact. Here's Nathan Elliott saying, "I'm a Buccaneer season pass member, longtime crew member with the Buccaneers. I love my seats, my tailgate parties, and my RJS family. Sitting at home is fine. Give me the stadium." Could not agree more.
Here's the original comment from John Hill right here.
There you go. He says, as an SDM, the Bucs sent notices of the price increase of 17.5% for the 2026 season over this upcoming 2025 season. If you're not a renewal, the price increase is even higher. John, and I believe, John, did you say you were going to pay it or you're not? I wasn't sure. And this is for season tickets too. There's another one in here as well from Bucs Basement, I believe it was. About his increase. Pardon me, sorry for the delay. But I believe he said their increase was $80 a month. Here it is. Bucs Basement said, I just got an email for the Bucs brass that ticket prices are going to increase by $80 a month for season ticket holders. No, thank you. I can watch mediocrity at home in the 2026.
Mediocrity?
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now. I'm rolling through the comments here, and there's a lot of discussion going on here about the comment about mediocrity.
Pop them up there.
Nathan Elliott, very outraged at that. He said, a mediocre team does not go to the playoffs. A mediocre team is not being mentioned by Good Morning Football and every other NFL talk show. Bucs Basement said, Bucs fans trashing Saints fans that they dominated the division with Breeze and mocked their division titles, yet brag about the same thing happening here in a much worse NFC South, mind you.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Bucs are winning 13 games a year over the last few years. They're not. That they don't have issues. But they are the favorites to win the division. They have gone to the playoffs 5 straight times. Only the Kansas City Chiefs have that. Nobody else in the NFC. It's not mediocre football. It's really, really good football. Now, does that warrant a increase of 18%, 17.5%. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Now, typically, I think the Bucs have had some of the lower prices in the NFL over the years, but I don't know where they stand right now. That's a big freaking jump in 1 year. It's a really, really big jump in 1 year. It's hard to criticize the Bucs because I think the Glazers have spent every penny that's been asked of them as owners. So I guess I would have to look into exactly where they rank in terms of ticket prices. Now, we have to keep in mind that this is a lower per capita income market. It's one of the lowest in the NFL. So the fact that they would have lower ticket prices is a market thing. And it's market driven. If the Bucs believe that they have enough people on the waiting list or put enough people waiting in line, because there'll be a significant amount of season ticket holders that just say that that's too much. I'm not interested. And they'll just go buy tickets on the secondary market to the games they want. Now, anybody can do that, and it's very doable, but you don't get the membership advantages of being an STM, and there are significant ones. I think the Bucs do a great job of offering great events to their crew who get more access to training camp. There's going to be, I think, 3 public training camp practices this year. And I'll say this, college football doesn't even allow media to watch their practices anymore. Certainly not fans. So I would be happy that we get access to it. And I would say this, if you want to be a Bucs fan and you want to be, then step up and get season.
I just looked at the list of season tickets this year and cost for the 2025 season to compare.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you that even with the increase this year, according to the emails that were sent out to season ticket members, the Bucs have some of the cheapest season tickets in the entire league. In fact, from what I'm reading here, the only teams that have lower are the Saints, the Rams, which is kind of surprising being in LA. The Jaguars and Colts don't have data. And the Cowboys are lower. That's it. So
yeah,
Bucs
see,
actually have some of the cheapest around.
Yeah. And see, it's hard for me to rip them for starting to bring their tickets up to where the other teams are. And listen, the Bucs are going to have to pay for a significant amount of the renovation of the new, whatever that renovation is going to be. And, if the word is correct that they're going to build some mixed use thing around the stadium, it's going to cost a lot of money. They need upfront money. They need cash. So not that they, obviously they have a lot they can draw on with Man United and the money they've made over the years. They're a very, very affluent bunch. But listen, if you're one of the lowest ticket prices in the league and you want to bring them up a little bit, I'm not going to have a huge problem with it. Now, I was listening to Joe Bucks fan podcast, Ira Kaufman's podcast. Those guys do a great job, by the way. Highly recommend it. And they said that the Bucs are charging $11, I think it is, for training camp tickets. Again, I'm happy that they open it up and they do a great job allowing the fans in. And $11 is less than a movie. I mean, we could start doing the comparisons. It's less than a Happy Meal, I think, these days. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it just doesn't feel right, man. It just doesn't feel right. But I'm sure there's plenty of people that will pay it. $11 to attend anything is pretty cheap these days.
$11 for 3 hours, 4 hours of something to have fun at. I mean, I think anybody would sign up for that. No,
seems so. I don't know why it just doesn't feel right. Maybe just because it's always been free.
Yeah, but I mean, it just
seems like a bit of a money grab.
You can fight the world all you want and how much it changes, but the fact is, it changes. And
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, I every day I go out and I buy stuff and get bills, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is insane. But it is what it is, and it really, if you ask yourself, okay, so $11 and they put on a great show. Like the cheerleaders are out there, they give out free popsicles, free waters. There's always a theme. They have Military Service Day. We got paratroopers jumping in. The players are signing autographs after practice.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if this is. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if this is actually like I can't. I don't have any way to verify it. I could verify it maybe actually while I'm sitting here. But Nathan Elliott said the money charged for training camp practices goes to the Glazer Foundation. I'd have to look at that. I'm not. I'll take your word for it, Nathan. I do want to verify that. But if that's the case, I mean, at least it's going to something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if Phyllis Smith Miller said the same thing, so I'm going to assume that is a real thing.
Well, that's good. Now, cynical people will say, that's so what you're doing. You are getting money from the fans to pay for your charitable endeavors, which you take credit for. I mean,
I think this is the bigger issue, and Thomas Casper says it. $20 for a liter of beer is the stupidity. And Recon Scouts
well, I mean, we could do this all day.
Recon Scout said it's not the ticket prices; it's the $16 cup of soda. It sucks, but I mean, it's one of those things where I don't know if we should just accept it the way it is, but it's not going to change. I mean, I'll
say this to you, Recon Scout: skip the soda, have the free water, bro. Yeah.
Do they have free water now?
Yeah.
I just recall sometimes going to Bucs games, obviously in like September.
At training camp. I don't know.
I was going to say at the stadium itself, I don't think anything's free there.
No. Although there should be free water everywhere.
I agree with that.
TBH. I mean, just have to put coolers out, whatever. But that's a dangerous thing, especially at a football game. And if you're going to charge $6 for water, I mean, yeah, come on, that's a lot of money, which is what they charge, I think. And people are falling, and they're making decisions to not drink water because I think there's water fountains there, if I'm not mistaken. But
sounds like to me that there would be a lot of support, at least from this comment section, to put at least a little tarp or some kind of cover on Raymond James Stadium. Which I feel like something's happening. I mean, the Bucs are going to be upgrading this stadium in the next few years.
I would be shocked if there's not some type of covering of the because if you look at stadiums across the world, there are no open stadiums. Like all the European side, am I wrong? All the European soccer stadiums that I see have the stands, the grandstands are covered.
Yes, and I think it is to an extent, and I think part of the field may be covered too at some of them, to the point where like the Club World Cup that's being played right now in the United States, there's been a lot of players and coaches complaining about the heat and the temperature on the field and everything, to the point where like substitutes for Bayern Munich in one game were literally chilling in the locker room instead of sitting on the field. So it sounds like it might be an American issue.
Yeah. So I think without question, there's going to be some type of roof or shade put on Raymond James Stadium. And that ended up costing the Dolphins, which I think was all privately funded too, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go check that. Like $500 million. I
tell you what, Bucs Basement is fired up in these comments about this stuff. A lot of comments here about this. About sitting in the heat. His
comment about mediocrity is flat out wrong.
Well, now he's talking about sitting in the heat and everything. And again, I respect your opinion. I'm not dogging you or anything. But he says here, when I go to a game, I don't buy anything except maybe a giant water bottle for the hot days, which unfortunately in the NFL, now post-Brady, every game is played at 1 p.m., which should not happen. It's way too hot for the Bucs to be playing all their games.
I agree.
It's not a fun experience for fans. Oh, yay, let's go to the 100-plus degree ballpark with no shade and risk of getting heat stroke.
He's right. He's right about that.
From fan perspective, I don't enjoy it either, to be honest with you. I say this all the time. The best seat in the house for me to watch an NFL game is right in my room in front of my big TV in my living room. I'll always say that. But listen, the Bucs playing at 1 o'clock is actually no concern to me because I don't really get a chance to go to these games because I work them at home. And the Bucs play good at 1 o'clock, don't they? Do they not? It's when you put the Bucs in any other time slot is when they seem to have struggles. So I'll sign up for they can play all their games at 1 o'clock for all I care because I just care about wins and losses.
Well, I don't think it's the time. If you go look at the quality of the opponent in primetime games, it's usually more difficult. Not every game, not Thursday nights, but that's another reason
the
they
Bucs,
haven't done well.
the Bucs are already playing with fire this year because it looks like they're going to wear creamsicle not once, but they're going to do it twice. Now, maybe they'll have better luck wearing the white ones, so the creamsicle will be a little bit more
Muted.
hidden. Yeah, it'll be a little bit more dialed back, so maybe they'll have more luck with that. But I'm like, you're tempted fate here wearing the creamsicles twice.
Yeah. This is interesting. Buck's Basement says, Our Nathan Elliott says, I have 8 tickets for each game. I'm looking at my ticket list and how much I paid for my tickets. I see some games priced higher than others. I see some lower than others.
Yeah,
I don't have
that always comes down to who the team you're playing.
Yeah, that's market forces. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. They're marquee games. The Rays do this. Every team does this, and I get it.
Good luck getting a nice cheap ticket to go see the Rays play the Dodgers here and whenever they come into town.
Yeah. All the season ticket holders will be selling their tickets to get some of their money back. Good for them. It's a fierce thing. Buck's Basement's getting drilled in the comments.
I think it's the mediocrity thing. I don't think the Bucs.
Well, he's wrong on that, but he's right about I don't think the Bucs, and I do think it's a safety issue. I don't think the Bucs should be playing 1:00 games in September. I don't think the colleges should be playing any day games. Look, John Hill says he did cancel STM for 26, but he's got it for 25 because they make you commit in the middle of the season for the next season, right? So it's like a year and a half ahead you have to commit, which is crazy.
And I think the thing I've heard from is it's also like a like you said, it's a multi-year commitment thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So
and you lose all your priority if you give it up and all the extras that you get with it. But
I think that's the Bucs.
That's a personal decision, and
the Bucs are trying to fight the whole thing about other teams coming in here and outselling their fans. I think that's why they're trying to combat this. Which, if we're being completely honest with ourselves as a market, we've got to do better.
We do, and that's on us. Other places don't have issues with this because their season ticket base is very, very loyal, and maybe the fact that the higher the price goes, the less likely you are to sell them because you're not going to make as much profit.
Yeah, and I just feel like I know the argument's going to be, well, this is a transit town and there's all fans. I get that, but this is the 50th year the Bucs have been playing football in Tampa. Like, by now, you should have a well-developed fan base that goes beyond that have grown up as Bucs fans and want to be in the stadium to fill 65,000 seats. You should have way more than that ready to go to games. Yeah, like I don't think that issue should be as big of an issue as it's made out to be, personally.
Well, again, you always have to keep in mind that this is per capita one of the lowest income markets in the NFL. So I don't think you should, even if you're at the average, you're too high. You're too high. You should be at the lower end, the lower third in terms of ticket prices, because it should pretty much max.
They are.
And they always have been. Yeah, and that's market forces. That's gonna. And listen, I'll tell you this right now: if a bunch of STMs don't renew, they'll bring the ticket prices down. They'll have to.
Right. Market forces. Once you start impacting the wallet of the powers that be, that's when things get changed.
Yeah. So they've done their research, and they think that they can absorb this, and the ones that drop out, others will jump in.
Yeah,
and that's business.
And I know that, listen, Lightning games aren't cheap to go to either, like they used to be. I mean, those are expensive for regular games, and people still go. They're always sold out.
George G says 15-year Bolt STM, and I may drop them. Friends were paying half of my face value tickets for playoffs and sitting in better seats. They do minimal effort to STMs now, and I get the team is good, but still. This was a big problem for the playoffs, and obviously I work for the Lightning, so I'm trying to be as objective as I possibly can. We mentioned this in the playoffs that they were charging people. The STMs got soaked, and it's the same with the season ticket holders at the Rays. They paid exorbitant prices, but people paid them because there was a scarcity, and they wanted to get in. And a lot of people, listen, I know a lot of people that bought those tickets, the Rays tickets, and a lot of them are very affluent people. And they're bitching about how they got soaked. But you know what? They bought them because they could afford them. And even rich guys hate getting losing $10. I found that out. Like, that's crazy to me. But they get all pissed off. Oh, my tickets. I paid too much. They hate paying too much because they never do. That's how they got rich. So if they get soaked a little, so be it. So I'm a ham and egger. I'm like you guys. When the rich people get soaked, it don't bother me. And listen, you can in Jordan, you can still go to as many games as you want. You'll probably pay half the money, but that's the price of being a season ticket holder. You are, for the big games that you want to go to and the playoff priority, you got it. You'll get those. But if it's not that important to you, or you can see that's the whole thing. The secondary market has changed everything, right? It used to be if you were, it was a very popular team, and second, it was like you wanted to be a season ticket holder because you got access to those tickets before anybody else did. Well, now, who really wants to go to 41 hockey games? Can you go to all of them? Who the hell wants to go to 81 baseball games? It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, that's a lot to do anything that many times a year. That's a lot. And it's going to – so now to have the freedom and ability to just cherry pick which games you want to go to, you may pay an elevated price, but in the end, you'll probably be paying less because you're not buying all the tickets. So, and of course, you can sell the ones you don't want to go to anyway. So I think now more than ever before, there's more options. So, and I think options are a good thing because whatever fits your fiscal formula, you can do. But if you're gonna, you're gonna want to be a season ticket holder, you get those benefits. You can choose to do so. Georgie said, "LOL, watch a Bucs practice." Wow, exciting! It is exciting, Jordan. Shut your pie hole. It is exciting. I like football practice. I mean, seriously though. And I've said this to myself before, like I'm out there training camp watching Tom Brady work the 2-minute drill against, I forget who we were playing that day. And I'm saying to myself, look at the stars on this field right now. Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They were going up against the Dolphins. Tua, Waddle, Ty Hill. I'm like, freaking stars out here putting on a show. And they were putting on a show. And you see things in practice that you won't see in games.
Yeah.
And I'm going, these people are getting this for free? They're watching Tom Brady play for free?
Yeah, look how like close you get to the guys and everything.
Yeah.
You have more of to me, when you go to like a practice or something and you're that close, you have more an appreciation for everything. I mean, first of all, just for the size of these guys. I mean, you haven't, to me, until you've seen Vita Vea, like 10 feet away from you, you haven't rightfully understood, and appreciated what this guy does.
I agree.
For this team. Like, that's to me the coolest part about training camp.
Yeah. Yeah, I would, to each his own, right? Some of you might find football practice boring. I don't. Like, I love watching the one-on-ones with the defensive linemen.
Yeah,
Tristan Wirfs going.
And I love a good old school O-line coach just grunting away and yelling expletives out everywhere. Like, I love that. When you go to training camp, I'm going to watch the offensive linemen do their thing. Yeah,
you don't see that in games. And to me, that's great stuff. And it's where you get really good information on the players. So, yeah, it's all preference. And the more options you got, the better. If you don't want to go to training camp and you think $11 is too much, then don't go. Don't go. Yeah, I do. Listen, the Glazers give a lot of money to charity. That's awesome. But all these teams, when they do the foundation things, and the Lightning included, we always have to remember that, a lot of that becomes a tax write-off. A lot of it, but at least, basically when they give money to charities, when it's going into their foundation, a lot of that money is coming from the fan base. So it's all good because it's all charity. And I'm not saying it's bad, but let's also understand, if you're going to put $10 million away, you're going to give 10. And the Bucs do incredible amounts of giveaway. So I'm not trying to make this a negative thing. It just is what it is. And you collect, it's like the Lightning 50-50. It's like all the 50-50s, right? This goes in. You collect, say, $5 million in foundation money, and you're going to give $10 million away. Well, then you only have to put out $5 million. If you only collect $2 million, then it's going to be $8 million out of pocket, right? And so it is what it is. So if you want to go, go. And I think $11, frankly, for a training camp ticket is not bad. But I will also say, given the fact that it's always been free, it's a little bit, it feels like a money grab. But it's going to charity. So that's good. Yeah, this is another thing. Recon Scout, I put this up before. It's a $16 cup of soda. I agree. The concession prices at games are ridiculous, as they are at movie theaters. It's part of the formula. All right? It's part of, you're going to get soaked when you go there. So go with the intention of, you don't have to have a soda. Like, people think it's a right to have a soda. No, you don't have to. You can just drink water or get, pregame with your own booze in the parking lot, then have one beer. Like, figure it out, folks. It's not that hard to do. Take a gummy with you. Okay. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, Bucs Basement says, when I go to a game, I don't buy anything except maybe a giant water. Yeah, I mean, and you're right. I agree. It's way too hot for 1 o'clock games. I don't think there should be any of that. Nathan Elliott says there will be a non-refundable $5 per ticket reservation fee with all fees donated to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Foundation. Well, I heard, Joe Bucks fan said it was going to be $11. I don't know.
This might be for
Nathan. You're dialed in. You know exactly what it is.
This might be for season ticket members.
For season tickets?
Maybe that's different. I don't know.
I don't know. We need to get to the bottom of this. I should have done my research on this. I apologize. So I made an error in price increase percentage. It's 8.6%, which is higher than the Bolts. So it's only, you said it was 18. It's only 8.6. Come on, people, let's get it right.
Yeah, Nathan Elliott confirmed it's the non-crew members who are 11. Crew members are 5.
Okay, crew members are 5. Non-crew members 11.
Yeah,
$5. Come on, what are we doing? $5, and it's going to charity. The commit day is today. John Ilfer, is that for Bucs?
Yeah.
For 2026. God, it seems awful early, isn't it? Uh-oh. Fine. Fineable offense.
Spam's
got me. The Bucs have played in the sun, heat, rain since 1976, an advantage. No one died. I still say it's unbearable out there at 1 o'clock.
Wasn't it that, like, was it Jeff Fain? Have I not seen that quote before from Jeff Fain when he played here? And he said, like, people think it's an advantage, but when you're actually getting beat to hell in that sun for a whole month before the season, it actually is worse than an advantage.
Yeah.
So I think it's true. I think it's one of those things where it's different for everybody. Some people might just thrive in it, and some people might actually hate it. I think it's one of those things.
I think if I were the Bucs, and I think this is what they do now, I would practice. We got 4 practices a week. I would do 2 outside and 2 inside. As to not deplete because I think what Jeff was saying is, every day you're out in the sun and you deplete your system, you lose 4 or 5, 6 pounds of water weight, and then you replenish it. I think there are studies that show that takes a toll on the body. Like, it takes a toll on your system. And if you do that 4 times a week instead of, 2 times a week, by the time you get to Sunday, you're gassed. And he would know because he practiced, in places like New Orleans and Cleveland where they would practice indoors. Same with the cold weather. I mean, if you're out in the cold for 3 days of practice or 4 days of practice, it takes a toll on your body. There's just no question. Your body is trying to, regulate the heat. So that's just why they have indoor facilities.
I could only say for me, and I'm not a professional athlete, especially in football, where obviously it's every play you're just doing something crazy. But I would much rather, I feel like, be soaking wet from the heat and sweat than be freezing cold.
Yeah, that takes a lot out of your body too.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. Yeah. So Nathan points out, he said, my seniority with the Bucs got me access to the Buccaneers Seahawks game in Munich. I paid $90 per ticket of that game. I bought 6 of those tickets and we had a blast in Munich. $90 a ticket. I said, that's crazy.
Boy, especially for the queue usually for those games,
right?
Being like 50,000 people in it.
Yeah. Yeah. John says bolt price increase was 6.5% for 25-26 over 24-25, and the Bucs 8.6%. I would have to say, like, in terms of prices going up and everything else, from eggs to gas to everything else, that's pretty cheap in terms of increase. And those, by the way, like inflation affects everybody, right? It affects everybody, every business. So, yeah, prices go up, even for pro sports. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back. We'll get to the rest of your questions and comments here and do a little Buccaneers props as well. So, quick break. Oh, and Nick wants to opine about the United States men's national team losing in Mexico. So do I. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, folks. If you're going to pop a question, where else are you going to go? It's Gold and Diamond Source. By the way, gold prices have never been higher. So go to your life collection of gold jewelry that you never wears anymore. Take it out. Don't ask. Ask her. They might have sent them. Get your gold jewelry out. Remember that old chain you wore back in high school? Take it down to the Gold and Diamond Store. They'll give you real cash place for highest education. Gold and Diamond Store. Some of the other things you can get a 10 section. They'll repair your jewelry, anything you want. Gold and Diamond Store. 3800 over the road. Always online at goldanddiamondstore.com. Back in 3.
Here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salsicce salsiccia, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Are you having legal issues with a business partner or other legal business issues? The attorneys at Walters, Levine & DeGrave can help. Call 800-616-0384 for a free consultation. At Walters, Levine & DeGrave, we've redefined what a law firm can be with top-tier attorneys, personal service, and 26 years of success. From business law to civil litigation, we deliver smart, client-focused solutions. Walters, Levine & DeGrave recently won a $6.4 million jury verdict from a large real estate developer, and they can win for you too. Walters, Levine & DeGrave. Let's solve it together. Not attorney spokesman. For a free consultation, call 800-616-0384 or go to walterslevine.com. Offices Tampa, Sarasota.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStreams.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we finish things up on a Monday here, brought to you by Third Generation Plumbing. Great folks that also do AC as well. If you're having any plumbing issues, any mechanic issues at all, thirdgenerationplumbing.com is the website. Go there and collect 500 reviews across the board. Great folks for 3 generations, 1995. So they have a great reputation in the area. That's what you want, just an honest mechanic to come do honest work for a good price. That is the great folks at Third Generation Plumbing. So somebody just tweeted this at me. It's from Elijah Fluellen. And it says, so there's a stadium in Japan named Escon Field. It seats 35,000, has a retractable roof with a lot clear paneling, looks eerily similar to what we could see in Tampa for the Rays one day, probably with a fixed roof. Opened in 2023 with a cost of, guess, $530 million. See this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I pulled it up on your Twitter here.
Yeah. Well, if you can put them up, look at that glass paneling too. Look at that field. That's all we need. Why is that $530 million? And we have to spend 1.5 billion, like 3 times the price. Look at that. Look at the outfield. I love that glass pane. It just makes it everything brighter, like the Miami one.
Yeah, it looks like the Miami one or like the one in Milwaukee.
Yeah. I wonder, why is it so much less? They said they started with real grass but transitioned to artificial. Huh. Interesting. I don't know the answer to that question, Elijah. That's for construction people. All right, so I wanted to get a little bit into the soccer. You saw yesterday, Mexico defeated USA 2-1. Chris Richard got the USA on the board. Beautiful header in, 4th minute?
Mm-hmm.
But I did not watch the game. I don't know if you did, but I watched some of the highlights. But Mexico had 60% possession, so they dominated that. And they win 2-1 on a controversial double header where they originally was ruled offsides, did the VAR, and it was deemed onsides, kind of a close call there. But there was another moment in the game where a Mexican defender clearly fell on the ball, touching it with his hand in the penalty box. No penalty called. It was inadvertent, had no bearing on the game, as if he was blocking a shot or anything, but it's always called. It's just always called.
It was not. The handball rule, the VAR rule, it's very confusing. And I'm not going to claim to be some novice or whatever when it comes to this stuff, because it's really hard to explain. But as best as I've understood it, because they have their own illustrations for how they view this stuff when it comes to the handball law. If the ball makes contact and the hand and arm makes the body bigger, then it is a handball. If the ball makes contact and the hand and arm is simply supporting the body, it is not a handball. So clearly that is what the referee in this case came to see, and they decided that it wasn't the handball. And of course, it had a big sort of it definitely was a big part of the outcome because this happened in, I think, the 66th minute here where Jorge Sanchez from Mexico, this happened. And then Mexico obviously scored 10 minutes later for the game deciding goal. So I guess I understand why the United States might feel like they have a gripe here. And I know Pochettino was pretty vocal about that after the game.
Yeah, he was.
But I mean, I don't know.
Did you watch the game?
I watched most of the game, yeah. I watched most of the game. And listen, none of this was surprising to me, Mexico winning. I think Mexico should have probably been the favorite to win the tournament because the Mexican national team has had quite the turnaround over the last 2 years. And this was mostly their A team playing.
I was going to say, did they have all their A team?
They had basically.
We clearly did not.
No. The United States essentially had like their C team plus a couple stragglers who are going to be on their A team. And so the fact that the United States were even able to get to the Gold Cup final, and granted, CONCACAF is not the most competitive sort of region out there in the first place. So you should have no excuses with this country, even with your C team. You probably should still get to the final. But I'm not shocked that Mexico won this. I think Mexico absolutely had the better side, and that played out for 90 minutes. But I know a lot of people are pretty upset about Pochettino because he came over here. They a lot of accomplishments over in Europe, big name coach. They paid him $6 million to come here. And there's been all the back and forth between him and Christian Pulisic, the best player that we have, which is not great a year out from the World Cup, obviously. And, the Gold Cup has never been the tournament where typically the United States sends out their A team or has their A team go out there. But it just felt like with a manager that really hasn't gotten a chance to play many competitive games with his A squad, with the World Cup on the way, ideally you would like to see some of your best players out there. I think that's the biggest problem. Everybody's going nuts because every time the United States has played a team in the top 30 of the FIFA rankings, like they're 0-5 actually under Pochettino, but he's very rarely playing with his A team. And this is, I have so much big deal. It's a big deal. And I have so much concern for the World Cup because there doesn't seem to be great vibes right now in the United States Soccer Federation. There doesn't appear to be great vibes with Pochettino right now and some of the players with him. It's a whole mess right now. And it's the last thing you needed a year out from a World Cup that you're hosting on your home soil.
This is the bigger point. No Pulisic, no Weston McKennie, no Tim Weah, no Anthony Robinson. Why are these players not playing in this Gold Cup? And I know usually they don't. We're a year out from hosting the World Cup.
This
problem. Is not just any year.
Yeah, the problem is there's just too many games, JP.
Well,
big problem.
This
is a big problem with soccer though. The schedule, like they play a whole year schedule and there's like all these different cups going on. The guys get no time off at all. And then they're expected to show up into the summer when they should be on holiday or they should be resting or whatever. And now they have to play these things. Everybody does it. But again, I just feel like the context matters here, that you've barely had a chance to gel with this new head coach a year out from the World Cup. That's the context that matters.
That's the context.
But it's still, there's just too many games. Well,
I don't know enough about it, how to fix it. And I understand the too many games thing. But here's what I do understand. It's a bigger picture. And then when it comes to soccer, for America, it needs to be bigger picture because the majority of fans, especially for the World Cup, are going to be the in and out big tournament fans, right. The vast majority, right? So for the United States to not play a World Cup CONCACAF game here, Gold Cup game final in the United States of America, in Houston, and have 70% of the crowd be Mexican, like that's disappointing. That's disappointing for us. We always want to bitch about. The fans want to bitch about the team. Well, where's the support when we need it? Where's the support?
And keep in mind. No, go ahead.
And plus the fact that these players are not playing for this. It's a new coach. We're less than a year out from the World Cup. You guys need to be playing together and gelling together. This is the biggest tournament going into that. We should have had a huge emphasis on this as a federation, as a team. And, with the fact that if we're going to hire a coach that can't get along with the best player on the team, first of all, is that the best player's problem Like, what's the problem with Pulisic and Pochettino? That this can't be bridged for the sake of American soccer.
Well,
I mean,
why
what
did
the
it
heck
have to
is
become?
going
Why
on?
did it have to come so public? Is my thing. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
another thing.
I'm not in favor. I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm not in favor of Christian Pulisic going on a podcast and basically airing out the dirty laundry and forcing it to become the storyline around this entire team over the summer when they should
Can
be
you
focused.
encapsulate what the dirty laundry is?
Christian Pulisic wanted to come and play for the friendlies that were taking place before the Gold Cup, but he did not want to play in the Gold Cup. Pochettino wanted one roster. He did not want to have bringing players in for friendlies and Gold Cup and whatnot. He wanted one complete roster. And so that is the reason why Pulisic did not play in the friendlies. He was the one who revealed that to the press via the podcast that he had. And then obviously Pochettino had to respond to it. And it became this whole spiel before leading up to the Gold Cup. Landon Donovan sort of stoked the flames because he called out Pulisic and the other players for not playing in the tournament.
I agree with Landon Donovan.
It became a whole thing. That's kind of where it's at. And I think the other overarching point here about the United States, it's like, I think everybody after 2022 had this sort of feeling of, okay, we have this young nucleus of players and they were the youngest team in the World Cup and they did okay. And, you know, in 4 years' time, all these players are going to be in their prime and we're going to be much more suited to do something of note in the World Cup when it's on our home soil. But here we are. And outside of Christian Pulisic and outside of Anthony Robinson, all the other players that you're thinking of that the casuals know, Weston McKennie, Tim Weah, Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, these players have not Gio Reyna, can't even get on the field at all for Dortmund. None of these players have exactly gotten better over the last 4 years. In fact, they've either gotten worse or they have seen a sharp decline in their playing time. So I'm not really optimistic, to be honest with you. This is not one of those situations where they're all in their primes and they're all playing at their best. They're not. And they're not playing together with the national team hardly. So how am I supposed to think this is going to work by the time we get to 2026? I don't think it is. But but you know what? They should advance out of a group stage because this is going to be like the largest World Cup field, I think, in the history. They expanded it this time, which I'm not in favor of at all, but it is what it is. The United States is going to be, because they're a host, they're going to be, I believe, in the A pool when they start to do the World Cup groupings. So they shouldn't be in like some major group of death. So I expect them to probably get out of the group stage when we get there. But if you're expecting to go on some sort of run, barring something unexpected, I just don't see it.
It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm going to temper my expectations. And, you know, they'll set it up where they got to just have a heartbeat to get out of the group, which is sad. It's just at some point I'm just going to give up on the men's national team and just wait for the women to play because the fact that Pulisic can't play in the Gold Cup. I'm sorry, all those guys. The fact that they all couldn't get together and figure it out for one freaking year is all you got to do for 1 year. Just play a little bit more and get it done. Figure it out. And you couldn't even do that.
Yeah, because I don't know what we learned out of this Gold Cup. None of these players outside of 2 or 3 are going to be on that World Cup roster.
Nothing. It doesn't mean anything to them. Shouldn't mean anything to us. The hell with it. I was going to get all jacked up and try to figure out a way to, to get to some of these games. And now at this point, I don't even give a rat's ass. All right, looks like we lost Nick anyway. Thank you guys for jumping. Here's back.
I was there. I had to sneeze, but I was very polite to turn the camera off.
All right. Well, we'll do the Bucs. I'm going to be co-hosting with Scott Reynolds today on Pewter Report at 4:00 with that podcast. So we'll get to all the Bucs stuff then. Sorry we didn't get to it today. We got to the other stuff on the Bucs, but anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate your comments. We will be back tomorrow. Scott will be on with us tomorrow at 1:00. Hopefully, TJ Reed will be joining us tomorrow. This week we should have some goals and USMNT. So pay attention to our social media. You'll find out when. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.